kind of a few steps to create a healthy team. Now, next step is you've got your team. What are we going to do? All right, practice planning. A couple of concepts that I firmly believe in. Okay, you have an hour to an hour and a half practice is what I would do. Any more than an hour and a half, kids start to kind of falter away. So I think an hour to an hour and a half is a good time frame for practices. I would not have a drill take longer than 10 minutes. Okay, if it's a kind of a big drill and you have to explain it and that's going to take a couple minutes, all right, maybe you set aside 12 minutes. But I think when you're actually running the drill, it shouldn't be any longer than 10 minutes. Okay, you're an MC, you want to keep it moving. Okay, if I kept talking and talking about mistakes are for learning, eventually you'll get bored. And we would be here forever. And you would get bored. And when you get bored, what do? You stop concentrating. When you stop concentrating, you stop paying attention. When you stop paying attention as a coach, you get angry at it. When you get angry at the player, you start yelling, you lose your temper. Now what happens? Now the practice is a waste. Keep them moving, keep them active, keep them energized. I am a huge, huge believer, and you could not convince me otherwise of why you wouldn't. But in anything I do, in fact, even for this clinic, it's not on my cheat sheet, but last night when I was going through this, I was timing myself how long I think it would take each segment to do. And then kind of adding a few extra minutes saying, well, okay, questions, or if I talk longer here. So this lives me out. So now I know, all right, everything kind of goes according to plan. I should be done around 11:40. Okay? That way, if I got done, all of a sudden it was 10 o'clock, being like, well, I should probably do more than an hour, which I knew it was going to be more than that. But I will write down every time frame in any practice that I do. If I'm coaching or doing a program, it's, if I say 15 to 20, that means I'm starting at 4:15. So from 4:15 to 4:20, here's what I'm doing. I'll just pass that around. This is a practice plan from when I coached, this was a long time ago. I couldn't find my most recent one. But it was a 3rd and 4th grade, or 5th and 6th grade girls team. Practice 1 would have been the absolute first practice. Practice 5 would have been about 3 weeks in. So you can kind of see a little bit of difference, but as you notice, I write down the times in everything. The other thing that helps is if you've got this drill going for 10 minutes and it's a complete train wreck, get out of it. Get out of it right away. And just think to yourself, did I do a bad job explaining it? Because sometimes I look back, oh God, I was horrible at trying to explain it, or they didn't get this part of the drill, so next time when we do it, I have to really explain this is what needs to happen over on this spot. Sometimes you might realize that might be just a little too much for the kids, or you might realize the kids just weren't focused enough for a drill like that. Okay? Doesn't mean you scrap the drill altogether, but come back at it a different time and try to figure out why didn't it quite work out. But now, okay, you left that drill 5 minutes early. Now, if you have it written down, start mentally preparing, I'm going to be short 5 minutes. Now, sometimes I'll add a minute to each drill. All right, you can do that. Or sometimes I'll get out of another drill and I'm going, okay, now I'm up to 8 minutes. So what are we going to do for the final 8 minutes? Okay, I just did that with our big group practice for the girls. We kind of ended a little early. There's about 8 minutes left, so I just, okay, here's what we're going to do. We did a fun contest. Just kind of pulled it right out, had them do it, look, perfect, now we can go. Okay, so by putting the time frame, if you get out of a drill early, you'll know, all right, I got to come up with something. Or talk to your assistant and say, hey, we're going to have like 8 minutes. What do you think we should do at the end? Okay. The other thing with that is if you go longer, all of a sudden you got into the drill and you realize that drill was supposed to be 10 minutes and it went 13 or 14. All right, well guess what? Now you're going to have to cut from something. Well, if it's the day before a game and you have to cut 3 or 4 minutes, now you can look at your practice plan and say, okay, we can take, we won't talk about team defense as much today. We'll just roll with what happens tomorrow. Okay? So by doing that, you already can kind of start planning how you need to rework your schedule. Again, I'm a true believer, the less lines, the better. Okay? So if you've got 3 hoops, instead of having 1 or 2 lines and shoot at 1 hoop, go to 3 hoops. If you have 3 coaches or 3 parents willing to help, send them at a hoop and just say, hey, all we're working on is watching that pinch. So when they're done, see if they pinch that finger in their thumb. Or we're working on this. Most parents, even if they don't know anything about basketball, if you tell them, just watch for this, they can do it. They'll be more than happy to help. You just have to ask them. Okay? If someone's not doing something that they shouldn't be, if they're doing something they should not be, don't be afraid to sit them out. Okay? You don't want that kid being crazy, and now what happens? He's crazy, and you don't do anything, what happens? And another kid's crazy, and then third, the next thing you know, you've lost control of your practice. That kid's not paying attention, he's not doing what you need, he's not showing respect to you or the players. Have him sit out. You want to really correct the problem? Have a great fun game at the end, can't play. All that takes is one time and that kid will be better. Or better yet, make him sit out, move the game up right when maybe you're going to do it at the end. Move it up right when he's sitting out. All right, we're going to play this contest. Sorry, you can't play though. Maybe next time, if you show better behavior, maybe at the end we'll play it again and you can hop in. Most of the times when I've done that, kids been fine, not just that day, but the rest of practice. Okay, challenge the stars. All right, if Aiden is the best player and he might be the best player in the league, all right, and you realize there's nobody on my team that can guard him, you can guard him. You're older, I bet you can stop him. So challenge him. Not saying you have to embarrass him or steal the ball, but make him work hard. Or on the flip side, okay, you know he's guarding Drew, and Drew's not a real good ball handler, and he could steal the ball from him anytime he wants. Hey, Aiden, your goal is to just move your feet. Okay, this kind of goes back into the switch positions. You know, when you're up by a lot. All right, hey, he's been stealing the ball, Corey's been stealing the ball and getting layups. That's part of the reason you got 8 points. Hey, you're not stealing the ball, and your goal is to not let him get to the basket, but don't steal, don't reach. Move your feet, he passes it, now play good help defense. Challenge him to do that. Challenge him, instead of stealing the ball, to not let his player dribble to the hoop. Stay in front and make him pass it. Does that make sense? As opposed to trying to steal it. Challenge him in practice. Don't steal a ball, play good defense. Okay? Another thing that's going to incredibly help you guys out as a coach, communication with the parents. Okay? Communication typically makes or breaks a coach's season. Notice it has nothing to do with what happens on Saturdays. It's usually always communication. Okay? Parents that come away frustrated usually have lousy communication with coaches. Coaches that come away frustrated usually have lousy communication from the parents. Meaning, if a kid's going to miss a practice, they don't want the coach. Or miss a game, they don't want the coach. Okay? But it goes on the other side too. Parents sometimes get frustrated when all of a sudden, I didn't know there was a practice. Okay? So, when you get your teams, for the 4 coaches, the first time you communicate with them, please call the parents and make direct phone call conversations. Okay, I told them it wouldn't be till Tuesday night. You can call them today, but I said by Tuesday night, everyone will get a phone call. Okay, letting you know what team they're on and whatever. If you know practice, awesome. Okay, after that, then you can tell the parents, hey, I'm going to be emailing you or texting you. I would do weekly updates. Okay, it's so easy now to just send out an update. Here's my little caveat if you're going to email. Okay, I would try to be consistent on the day you email. So I had one of my son's baseball coaches never did text. All right, he just doesn't do text. All right, fine. Odd, but happens. But he would email. And I'll tell you what, you knew to look Sunday night for an email. Okay? And I'm not going to say it was always Sunday night at 4. Sometimes it was 7. Sometimes it was noon. Sometimes it was 9. But you knew to check your email before you went to bed Sunday. And you were going to get an email from the coach saying, hey, we have practice on Monday. Don't forget practice on Monday at 3:30. If you played the night before, it was usually, or the week before, hey, the kids did a great job. They showed improvement in this area. Don't forget practice Monday at 3:30. Practice Thursday. And then don't forget we got a game 9 o'clock at the middle school. Please be there at 8:45.
For baseball, I used GroupMe. I don't know if anybody's ever done a GroupMe, but it works really nice.
Yeah.
You put a calendar on there. It's
Is it a free app?
It's free.
Because I know, and I've never, honestly, have never looked into it. What was it, GroupMe?
GroupMe.
Okay, there's that. I know, what, Team Snap?
Yeah, I've heard that one too.
There's
I just use the
Team
Google.
Snap, is that what, I mean, there's now, it's interesting. I mean, I know for like the football team, they use, I think, Team Snap, but I've seen other apps too that kind of do the same thing. And if you want to set something up like that, great. Absolutely fantastic. No harm in that at all.
You do have to make sure that your parents know that that's the way you're communicating. 'cause-
Yep.
Yeah, and if they're not good with the phone or
Yep.
it's an issue, but I didn't have an issue with it once I showed all the parents how to use it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you're going to do an app like that, you may just have to say, hey, stop in. We're going to have to practice. Stop in. We're going to talk about the app that we're going to use to communicate. You know, go to the Google or iTunes store and download this, and we'll walk you through how to set it up that night and what the functions are with that. Like I said, I know my son's teams, his 8th grade football team had it. To my knowledge, it was great because they would communicate, especially this fall. You know, it'd be pouring rain. Hey, watch your group. You know, we'd get a text like in the morning. Hey, watch the app. We may be canceling practice or moving it, and so you had that mental capacity. All right, about 4 o'clock, I should check to see what I got to do. And here comes the group, on the app. Hey, practice canceled, or hey, we're gonna suck it up in the rain. So, not a bad way to do it at all. If you have any questions with any apps and want to look at that, let me know. I'll look into that one a little bit this weekend. Like I said, I've used a couple other ones just with teams. So whatever you do, okay? But it's always good to just kind of have that reminder that parents can get. Text, again, I would just, if you're gonna send out a reminder like that, I try to do it 24 hours in advance. As a parent, you three don't know yet, but it's probably nice to be able to plan, okay, tomorrow we have this. I'm sure everyone has a calendar. I never had a calendar until I had kids, okay? Just did what I kind of wanted to do. Now it's like, I better make sure Monday's free. They got this here, this person's here, okay? So, again, communicating with the parents, it's frustrating when all of a sudden, a coach pops up, hey, we're doing this tomorrow, and it wasn't planned. And the parent has now, if they have a day to prepare, all right, or they can contact us, hey, it's just not going to work, fine. But if you spring them on them 4 hours before, it's really hard. So, do that. The other thing I'm a big fan of is a team information sheet that you can print out. And if you need, I would be willing to type one up for you. This one's got the coaches' names and the phone numbers. It's got the team numbers, name and phone numbers. I would probably add email to it. It's got some team rules that just are kind of generic. Got some parent rules on there. I would put on there, hey, if you have a question about a playing time or whatever, please wait 24 hours till after the game. Okay? Nothing ever good comes with talking to a parent and or coach right after a game. Never. And then, if you have your practice schedules, go ahead and throw that on there. Print this out if you want. We can print it out for you. Pick it up before your first practice or second practice and hand it out. But it's really helpful. Okay? And again, now as a parent, maybe Dave can't get his kid to practice on Tuesday. Guess what? You've got that phone tree, or you've got somebody, hey, I know Ryan, I'll email him or give him a call. My kid knows him from school. I don't personally know him, but my kid knows him. I'll give him a call to see if he can take him to practice or give him a ride home. Okay? And I think as parents, we've all been there, and you're more than willing to help get a kid to some place if they need to.